day, good day, good day, good day, good day, and welcome to the live. Wow. All right, guys, we are doing something slightly different today. We're going live in the new studio. Things are slightly different here, so I'm just getting adjusted myself as well. For those of you who are jumping in for the first time, feel free to say hello inside of the chat. Feel free to say hello inside of the chat so I know you are with me, you are joining in, you are jumping in, and you are ready to go, and you are here for what we're going to be sharing inside of the session. I should have said the show, that would have rhymed, but it's all good, it's all good, it's all good. Welcome to the live. As you guys jump in, you know what to do. Let me know inside of the chat that you're joining me. Let me see a hello, let me see a hi, let me see a welcome inside of the live. We're going to be talking about something very, very interesting today. We're going to be talking about how your favorite teacher flopped you. Okay, how your favorite teacher literally set you up to fail instead of prevail. We're going to be talking about this, and you might be saying to yourself, Samuel, how can you be qualified to share with us about how our favorite teacher flopped us? Well, there's several different reasons. One of the primary reasons is because I studied my master's in teaching a number of years ago. Let me see if I can find that right here. Although we are setting up the new studio, we still have, you can see that, Master of Teaching. Teach. This was my master's in teaching dissertation, written slightly over around 10 years ago now. 10 years ago. Someone write in the chat the word 10 years. Let me see that in the chat. 10 years. Someone throw that in the chat. 10 years. So it's about 10 years ago now that I wrote my dissertation in my master's in teaching, or my master of teaching, becoming a master of teaching around 10 years ago. And yes, I used to work in schools. For those of you who have been getting my support to create consistent and colossal cash flow for a number of years, and you're saying to yourself, hey, Samuel, I never knew you used to work in schools. I never knew you used to be a teacher. Yes, I used to be a teacher. I used to teach A-level and secondary maths. I used to also teach teachers how to teach, because after I did my master's in teaching, or a little bit before I completed my master's in teaching, I became a teacher trainer. So I used to teach your favorite teachers out there how to actually teach. So that's a little bit about my history, but that's slightly a few things about what qualifies me to help you understand that your favorite teacher literally flopped you. They set you up to fail. And in today's live, we're going to be talking about exactly how they did that. For those of you who are tuned in, let me know, because we're tuning in from a brand new environment today. We're in the new studio. I know things look very similar. That's because we've set it up very similar. But we've got a whole bunch of stuff popping off here that we didn't have popping off in our previous studio. So we're looking forward to being able to utilize that and experiment with this stuff throughout the process to help you guys move further, faster. Now, before we go further, for those of you who are in the house, let me see a good evening, a good morning, a welcome, wherever you are joining us from. We're going to start the way we usually start. I'm going to ask you guys where you are joining us from, and then from there, we're going to go further into today's session. So a great big welcome to all of you guys as you jump into the live. If you're joining me for the first time, feel free to write in the chat the words first time. If you're here back again, feel free to write in the chat back again, so I can make sure that I can greet you regardless of your situation. Lucas jumps in and says hello. Hello, Lucas. Welcome to the live. So as I usually do, let me keep up with our keeping before I actually forget to ask this before we go further faster into today's session. You guys let me know inside of the chat, where are you joining me from? Where are you joining me from? Are you in the UK? Are you in the US of A? Are you in Australasia? Are you in Asia? Or are you in Mother Africa? Let me know inside of the chat where you are tuning in from. Let me know inside of the chat where you're joining me from. Whatever platform you're on, if you're on the black platform, if you're on the red platform, if you're on the blue platform, if you're on the purpley orange platform, whatever platform you're on, also let me know that you can hear me clearly, that the audio is coming through nice and tight and pristine, just so that you guys can do me a favor and let me know, hey, Samuel, we can hear you properly. Samuel, we have got you dialed in on this session. So guys, let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me clearly. We have Australia in the house. Lucas, where in Australia are you based? And it's no surprise that we've got literally people tuning in from Australia, because this is literally 1 a.m. in the UK right now. So Lucas, welcome to the live. Great to have you on, and great to have an Australasian participant in one of our sessions. Usually we have a whole bunch of people from the UK who are just up late, like I am when I put my children to sleep, and are ready to go live and get the lessons so they can survive. Let's go. Lucas says, tuning in from Melbourne, Australia. Great to have you inside of the house. All right, guys. Well, we're going to be jumping in a moment. I'm just going to answer Lucas's question. Lucas threw in a question. Lucas, I assume this is your first time on one of these lives. If it is, just write in the chat first time so we know it's your first time. But Lucas says something powerful in the chat. He says, Samuel, what is your mic and camera? Okay. Now, that's a kind of challenging question to answer, but I'm going to answer it to the best of my ability, because in the studio we have multiple cameras and we have multiple microphones. My wife often, I will use the language, takes the mickey. She often takes the mickey out of me and says she doesn't know anyone who owns 20 mics and only uses one of them. All right. So we have over 20 mics in the studio all over the place at different times. But again, like I mentioned, it's 1 a.m. in the morning right now. So my tech mind may not be with me, even though I'm always thinking about the tech regardless. So let's jump in. Lucas says, what mic am I using? Right now, for this live, I'm using the Hollyland Lark M2 mics. That's the mic right here. So that's a literal, what they call a wireless microphone that allows me to walk around throughout this live. So I can do that if you guys want. If you do, just write in the chat, walk, W-A-L-K. And if you write the word walk in the chat, then I'll go somewhere in the live, right? I don't have my roaming camera on. I didn't connect the roaming camera in today's session, but the roaming camera's over there. We just didn't connect it for this live. I actually thought about it, which is the reason why I know where it is. All right. And in terms of camera, this camera that you're seeing me on right now is a Canon. I usually stick with Canons. I have a whole Sony kit as well, but the Sony kit is not in this studio. That's usually on my desk, which is in a whole nother room. My actual work desk where I do all of my actual work. Outside of streaming, going live, etc. But this is a Canon DSLR camera, which is just basically a camera which has a mirror, a glass mirror inside of it to make sure that it has a super crispy quality kind of picture. All right, so this is a Canon DSLR. I also have my second camera up in the house, and the second camera is also a Canon DSLR. So this is a secondary camera that we have inside of the studio. Apologies for those of you who are joining us in the purpley orange platform, because my face is going to be really, really big on that platform, and all the other platforms where you guys see me vertically. I think it's vertically, sideways, vertical, horizontal. No, horizontally. All of you guys who see me horizontally on the other platforms, you guys will not have me too big. You'll have me probably at the right size. And some of you guys can see my plaques here, my plaques inside of the bubble wrap. You might be able to hear the bubble wrap, but my plaques are going to be on the wall soon. And then we'll be looking closer to the old studio soon as well. And then we had the third camera, which is another Canon camera, but this camera is not a DSLR camera. This is a Canon mirrorless camera. So we got a few different cameras up in the house. Okay, Lucas, if that's helpful, if that helps you, Lucas, let me know in the chat. If that helps you, let me know if that helps you. All right, Komutima in the house. Komutima says, Samuel, welcome back. Thank you, Komutima, for welcoming me back. And welcome, Komutima, because you're literally on the first live we've had since getting into the new studio. So today is the first live we're doing since going into the new studio. I know it's 1 a.m. in the morning for those of us in the UK. I literally wanted to go live like 11 p.m. I wanted to go live like 10 p.m. But we were still doing things inside of the studio, still getting set up. And at the same time, not only were we still getting set up, I still had all of my little ones up running around doing their things. One of the benefits of homeschooling, the children don't always go to bed early at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. because tomorrow's a school night. We don't have school nights. Every night's a school night when you homeschool. So slightly different in our home, but it is what it is. All right, guys. So if you guys are ready, throw in the chat the word ready, 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 ready. And what we're going to be talking about today is specific lessons that your favorite teacher, let me even ask this question. I think this is a great way to start today's live. I think we should actually start by asking a simple question, because I don't want to make any assumptions. I don't assume that this is the case. Komitima throws in the chat ready, so that means you guys are probably ready. I'm liking this. Let's go. Now, here's my question, okay? And for those of you who are getting value already, if you've seen something, heard something already, and like, yo, Samuel, this is valuable, you know what to do. Hit the like, press subscribe, become a part of the tribe. Feel free to share this live with someone else out there, just so you can show that you care, and we're going to go even deeper in here. Now, here's my question. When you were in school, did you have a favorite teacher? Yes in the chat if the answer is yes. No in the chat if the answer is no. Let me know, let me know, let me know. Did you have a favorite teacher in school? Okay. Did you have a favorite teacher in school? I'm super curious and interested in knowing if you had a favorite teacher in school. If you did, just throw the word yes in the chat and let me know if you had a favorite teacher when you were in school, okay? Because in today's session, what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be revealing to you a whole bunch of stuff that is actually probably going to surprise you. But after we unravel this stuff, I see Komitima in the house who says, yes, yes, all right? But after we unravel this stuff, what's going to happen is it's going to be very clear to you how your favorite teacher might have been doing something to you that you would not be happy about. Your favorite teacher might not even be happy about if they were aware of what they were actually doing, okay? And this is one of the things I want to be sharing with you guys in today's live. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Samuel, why are you going to be doing that? Samuel, why are you going to be sharing that? Samuel, what is the reason that you've decided to make me start feeling uncomfortable about what was my favorite teacher all those years back in the day? I'm going to tell you why, all right? Because back in the day, all those years ago, that was me. Back in the day, all those years ago, I was many of my students' favorite teacher, okay? Now, the reason I was many students' favorite teacher is because I actually cared about my students, okay? And for those of you who said yes in the chat, let me know in the chat the name of your favorite teacher, okay? So when I was in school, I had a favorite teacher, okay? In my primary school, my favorite teacher was Mr. DeVerne. In my secondary school, my favorite teacher was actually my English teacher known as Mr. Parks, okay? So I had favorite teachers in school. And if I go into college and university, I had favorite lecturers as well, right? But the reality is, when I used to teach in schools, I taught in multiple different schools, I kept finding that many of the students would tell me, sir, you're my favorite teacher. Sir, you're my favorite teacher. Sir, you're my favorite teacher. And as I was preparing for this live, I was thinking to myself, every single one of us, many of us, often have favorite teachers, okay? And let's throw some love out there for the favorite teachers in the house, right? Let's throw their names in the chat, right? Who was your favorite teacher in school, okay? Who was your favorite teacher in school? Let us know. And for those of you who are a bit uncomfortable with this lighting, because this lighting is not the way it usually is. This lighting is kind of super harsh, right? The only reason the lighting is super harsh is because the lights are not even set up in the studio. So we're literally doing this live with the light bulbs on, okay? Which is something I have not done for so many years. It actually feels weird to me. So if it doesn't feel weird to you, that's good, right? It feels weird to me, but let's go. All right, so let me know in the chat, who was your favorite teacher? Feel free to let us know inside of the chat the name of your favorite teacher when you were in school. When you were in school, your favorite teacher was Mr. Who, Miss Who, Mrs. Who, Mr. Who. Let me know inside of the chat. I see the likes showing up inside of the live. I see the lights blowing up inside of the live, right? So let me know in the chat who your favorite teacher was. Now, when I was teaching in schools, like I shared earlier, I studied my master's in teaching, okay? I showed you guys this at the start of the live. This is my literal dissertation. I can't even remember how many words this was, probably 10,000 words, maybe 30,000 words. I can't remember, it was so long ago. This was 2016 that I completed this piece of work, right? And so yeah, so this is roughly 10,000 words, right? So this was my dissertation, research and practice-based inquiry. And if you guys are interested in knowing the title of what I wrote my master's dissertation in teaching about, just write in the chat the word title and I'll share that with you, all right? But in August of 2016, so a little less than 10 years ago, 9 years and a bit, I wrote my master's in teaching. And that was one of the things that assisted me, equipped me, and allowed me to become a teacher trainer. So I was a literal teacher trainer 10 years ago, which is super crazy because 10 years ago, when I was a teacher trainer, my annual salary was £47,000 a year. Now, again, I'm not saying this to brag and I'm not saying this to show off. I'm saying this to give you some hope and share with you what's possible for you, okay? going from a place where my annual salary was £47,000, I'm now speaking to you at a place where I can generate more than that in 30 days. So I want you to think about how life can change in a short amount of time. Now, I know for some of us, 10 years is a long amount of time. Well, the older you get, the longer amount of times seem to feel like less amount of time. Can I get an amen, somebody who knows what I'm talking about? All right? Because that's just generally what happens. And it took me some time to understand why that happens. But if you would like, I can explain to you exactly why that will happen, right? So I'm going to explain that to you, and then we're going to go into today's session. All right. A says, amen. A, I'm super old school. All right. And I assume this is probably one of your first times on our live. So A, let me know your name, because I like to address people by their names and not initials or other names that we get on the internet. All right, cool. So I'm going to explain to you guys, I got an amen in the chat, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to explain to you guys how and why the older you get, the less amounts of time feel, okay? I love this. This is Austin, all right? Austin also asked a question. And Austin, what I need you to do, because like I said, I'm super old school, right? I do apologize. I know this might sound crazy to some people, especially if you're much younger than me. And I know I look young. My wife always tells me I look young. So please, Austin, let me know what you mean by your question. Because like I recently learned what like certain acronyms mean. Okay, so I don't know if you're using an acronym here that I'm not familiar with. So please, if you can, just spell it out in super clear English, and then that way I can answer questions and help you. All right, so let's break this down. Now, you see, I'm a father. I've got children, right? And I'm going to explain to you very simply a very quick concept, and then we're going to go deeper into this whole conceptual idea about how your favorite teacher in school literally messed you up, okay? So the first thing we're going to explain is, why is it that the older you get, longer periods of time feel shorter to you? Okay, I'm going to explain that again in case you need to pick up your pen. The question we're answering to start today's session is, why is it that the older you get, longer periods of time feel shorter to you? Okay, so let me drop this down for you guys real quick. Now, I'll give you an example with one of my children, right? So one of my children right now is 3 years old, okay? And this is going to be super helpful, because this is going to help you see from a mathematical perspective something that's super basic, but most people don't understand. And because most people don't understand it, what happens in their life is they're not able to take advantage of what I'm going to show you, because of the simple fact that they just don't understand that this is actually a thing. They don't understand that this is affecting their life every single day, all right? So if you guys are ready, just throw in the chat the word ready, and let's jump straight into this, okay? So here's where we're gonna start to get you guys really seeing this super clearly, because this is super important, right? So one of my children is 3 years old, okay? 3 years old. Now, what that means is he's been alive for 3 years. Now let's symbolize each year with this arrow process, okay? Austin says ready, let's go, right? So his first year of life, okay, baby J, his first year of life was 1 year. His second year of life was 1 year, which made 2 years. And his third year of life was 1 year, okay? Now, if you say to baby J, we're going to go there in 1 year, okay? If you say to baby J, we're going to get there in 1 year, Simply Mandy, welcome to the live, right? If you say we're going to get there in 1 year, okay, what does baby J think? I'm going to tell you what baby J thinks. If you say to baby J, we're going to get there in 1 year, baby J thinks 1 year is a long period of time. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Samuel, why is it that baby J thinks 1 year is a long period of time, but a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 30-year-old does not think that 1 year is a long period of time? Okay, now that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked, okay? So let's start breaking that down so you can understand exactly why baby J thinks 1 year is a long period of time, but a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 30-year-old does not think it's a long period of time. I'm going to show you exactly why. You see, 1 year for baby J is 1/3 of his whole life. Okay, now if you break that down into a percentage, for those of you who are like me, who like percentages, right? That's 33.3% of baby J's life. Because baby J's only been alive for 3 years. If someone understands this, just write in the chat, I do, okay? Because I want you to think about how this works, right? When you are, let's even do this in a nicer way, right? Let's make this super small so we can give you 2 examples, and the contrast will make it even simpler, okay? if you're like baby J and you're 3 years old and you've been alive for 3 years, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, then when I say to you, we're going somewhere and it's going to take us a year to get there, that is 1/3 of your life, which literally is 33%. It's actually 33.3333 recurring, but that's 33% of your life. So every time we talk to you about 1 year, to you, that's a long time because that's a whole third of your life. Now, if you are someone, for example, contrary to this, right, who's 50 years old, and you got 50 of these lines in life, and we say to you, we're going to take a year to do something. We're going to take a year to get somewhere. We're going to take a year to produce something, right? Let me tell you what happens to you. You say to yourself, that's just 1 year. Why? Because that's now 1/50th of your life. 1/50th. Now, I want you to understand this. What happens in life is our perception of things are based on our position in things. And what most people don't do is they don't check their position before they assess their perception. So what happens is people are shifting perceptions because they're shifting positions, but they're not checking their positions before they're recognizing how they're shifting their perceptions. If this is helping someone write in the chat, me, right? Let me just know if this is helping somebody, okay? Because this is what's happening for many people in their life. Many people are going through situations, going through circumstances, going through scenarios in specific positions, which are determining specific perceptions, but they're not aware of the perceptions because they didn't realize the value of their position, okay? This is why your position in a situation is important, okay? And this is why, as I prepared for this live, I thought to myself, it's super important to talk to you about how your favorite teacher, someone who was in a specific position, helped to shape your current perception, okay? Some of you are getting this already now. And this is some of the stuff that makes a massive difference in people's lives. There are some people who have done everything they were told to do, but things still aren't working for you. Now, here's a question. If you have done everything you were told to do and things are still not working for you, wouldn't you want to figure out why? If you would, just write, I would in the chat. Austin says, this is making sense to me. Let's go. All right? There are some people who have done everything they were told to do. Everything. The school teacher said, you should go here. The head teacher said, you should do this. You're the kind of person who says, you know what, one day I'm going to be like that. But for some reason, things just still aren't working. If that's your situation, congratulations. Now you might be thinking, Samuel, if that's your situation, congratulations. Why are you congratulating me for being in a predicament, being in a position where I've done every single thing I was told to do, but things still aren't working for you? Why are you congratulating me? I'm congratulating you because you're in the right place at the right time. You're in this live. Now, as you can see, my eyes are looking a little bit red because it's literally 1:26 in the morning. But as we go through this live, I want you to learn how to thrive and not just survive. As we go through this live, I want you to literally understand how each and every thing, each and every aspect of what I'm about to share with you is going to help you, as Jim Rohn would say, turn every which way but loose. I'm going to show you how your favorite teacher who was in a specific position helped you shape your perception without you even knowing it. I'm going to show you how your favorite teacher taught you specific lessons. These are specific lessons that I used to teach. So I'm guilty. If you're someone who's tuned into today's session, there you go, when I'm thinking faster than I'm speaking. If you're someone who's tuned into today's session from the red platform, you will see the image we used as the thumbnail for this video. The image says, he did it. And it's a picture of me. Why? Because the same thing your favorite teacher did to you, I'm showing you, I'm going to be sharing with you, I used to do to students too. And I'm not happy about it. That's why I'm about to share it. I'm not happy about it. That's why I'm about to reveal it. I'm not pleased about the dysfunction and corruption that has been placed in the face of many of the people who chased me as their favorite teacher. But because of that, I'm out here attempting through these lives, attempting with my life to undo the work that unfortunately I was doing as a teacher trainer. shifting people's financial situations, breaking people instead of making people. All right? So if anyone's ready for today's live, if anyone's ready to start to learn some of the lessons that you have been taught in school that are keeping you poor, just write in the comments the words, I am. Just write in the comments the words, I am. And as you write in the comments the words, I am, I'd like to say to you, welcome to the session. Because class is in session right now, guys. And I hope you have your notepad, your iPad, your tablet, your stylus, your pen, paper, and everything you need in order to succeed. Because right now it's about to go down. So what's the first lesson that your teacher taught you that's keeping you poor? Okay? And some of you guys are sitting there thinking, oh, but Samuel, you know what? As I'm tuned into this, I know my favorite teacher never taught me any of these lessons. You're going to be surprised. I know some of you are sitting there thinking, oh, Samuel, as I'm tuned into this, I know even if my favorite teacher taught me this stuff, they never taught it to me to make me poor. Let me tell you something. There was someone teaching your favorite teacher to teach you this stuff. So whether you like it or not, your favorite teacher was teaching you to stay poor, not because they were doing it intentionally, but because they were doing it conventionally. They were doing it because this is the curriculum that they are told to feed you. This is the curriculum that they are sold on feeding you. This is the curriculum they have to give you. They don't have a choice unless they're a rogue teacher. And I was a bit of a rogue teacher. So some of you guys, if there's anyone in the house who was ever in one of my classes, who was ever one of my students, they would have known, yo, Mr. Akinwin, he was a bit of a rogue teacher. I knew that guy couldn't be a teacher for too long. He was too rogue. Some schools wouldn't keep him in. Let's go. All right. So let's go deeper. All right. I'm going to share with you in this live, for the sake of time, and just for the sake of time, I'm going to do this. I'm going to share with you 3 lessons that we all learn whilst being in school that keep you poor. Someone write in the chat the number 3. Okay, if you're ready, someone write in the chat the number 3. 3 lessons. This is what we're going to cover. 3 lessons that we all learn in school that keep people poor. All right. Here's lesson number 1. Okay. This lesson is a crazy lesson, but this lesson, everybody gets taught this. The first lesson is that results take ages to show up. Lesson number 1, which keeps you poor, which you were taught by your favorite teacher in school. Results take ages to show. Here's the truth. No, they don't. Here's the truth. No, they don't. You see, some of you guys have heard me teach before on the 3 stages of transformation. Okay? And if you haven't heard me teach on the 3 stages of transformation, just write in the chat, teach, and I'll break it down real quickly for you. Because typically when I teach the 3 stages of transformation, I explain it by asking you guys, who's ever seen a butterfly? If you've seen a butterfly, just write in the chat, I have. If you've seen a beautiful, bodacious butterfly in your life before, if you've ever seen a beautiful, flickering, fluttering butterfly in your life before, just write in the chat, I have. Now, here's the thing. Everybody loves the butterfly, but butterflies do not start as a butterfly. Butterflies do not start as butterflies. Okay? Before a butterfly becomes a butterfly, Austin, thank you for deciding to follow the host. Before a butterfly becomes a butterfly, it actually goes through some stages. And I break down these stages. These are the 3 stages of transformation. And what's interesting is these stages of transformation are not subjected only to a butterfly. These stages of transformation are also subjected to you and I. If you don't go through the same stages as a butterfly, you don't become as beautiful as the butterfly. In your finances, in your health, in your relationships, in your health, wealth, and relationships, if you do not follow the same 3 stages as the beautiful butterfly, you do not get to fly in those areas of your life. Okay? Now, Austin said teach, so we're going to jump in. Now, How does a butterfly become a butterfly? This is a great question. How does a butterfly become a butterfly? Zach is in the house. Zach says, hi, uncle. It's great that you're back. I wanted to ask how you've generated a passive income online. All right, great question, Zach. And we can get to that at the end of this live. And Zach, welcome back as well. Welcome to have you back, all right? And Zach, I shared this with Komutima earlier. This is the first live back since we jumped into the new studio. We don't even have the studio lights set up yet. So thank you for jumping into the live, Zach. We appreciate you. And for those of you who are in this live, guys, let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. Let's make sure that we hit at least 10,000 likes by the end of this live so we can show this platform that we're here to thrive and not just survive. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. If anyone's ready to go deeper, just write in the chat the word deeper. Let's go. So how does a butterfly become a butterfly? How do you and I become butterflies financially? How do you and I become butterflies in our relationships, in our health, in our wealth, right? That's a great question we should be asking because that's a question we should want the answers to. That's a question we should be discovering answers to, not just so that we can flourish, but so we can also help our children, our children's children, so we can be assets and not liabilities in our communities. Okay, so let's jump into this. This is what a butterfly has to do. A butterfly doesn't start as a butterfly. A butterfly actually starts as, excuse me guys, my name's Samuel, I can win, not Picasso. For those of you who don't know. It actually starts as something similar to a caterpillar. Now, here's an interesting question. Can a caterpillar become a butterfly? Someone told me in the chat, can a caterpillar become a butterfly? Super interesting question. I'm interested in the answer because I think the answer to this question will help us understand our own levels of comprehension for us to move further faster in our future, right? So let me know in the chat, yes, if it can, no, if it can't. Can a caterpillar, there you go. Can a caterpillar actually become a butterfly? Let me see in the chat what you guys think, okay? Can a caterpillar become a butterfly, right? Now, the reason this question is so important is because this question, you might think you're answering about a caterpillar and a butterfly, but you're actually answering about yourself. You're actually answering about whether you can go from being struggling to actually being thriving. You're actually answering about yourself. You're actually answering about whether you can go from a hopeless situation to a hopeful situation. You're actually answering this question about yourself and answering about whether you can go from being fruitless to being fruitful. Because if a caterpillar can transform, and literally the actual scientific word is metamorphosize into a butterfly, then I can assure you that your finances can transform and metamorphosize. I can assure you that your relationships can transform and literally do a metamorphosis. This is possible if you understand the steps, if you understand the processes. You can have the same transformation. You can have the exact same transformation. Austin says, Samuel is cooking. Let's go. All right. So let's keep cooking. Here's the thing most people don't realize. If a caterpillar that looks nothing like a butterfly can become a butterfly, then I assure you that that means your finances right now that may look nothing like what you want them to be can become exactly what you want them or desire them to be. Okay. But you have to understand the steps. So follow me. Let's go. Okay. And guys, if you're getting value right now through this live, just write the word value in the chat. If you're getting value, feel free to share to show you care with someone else out there so they can get some of what's in here. Okay. If this is good stuff, let the platform know, hey, more people like me need to hear more stuff like this so we can have a community of unity. Let's go. All right. So the question is, what are the steps to allow a caterpillar to become a butterfly? Let's go through them, okay? The first step that a caterpillar must go through, okay? And this is not feels like going through. This is not thinks of going through. This is not theorizes if it goes through. Because I want to share this. I want you guys to understand the reality of this, right? Some people haven't become the butterfly of themselves because they've only thought about becoming the butterfly of themselves. They've only theorized about becoming the butterfly of themselves. You see, thinking about it and theorizing about it is not the same as taking the step to do it. Okay, I want you guys to understand what I'm talking about. Okay, I want you guys to understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's not exactly the same. Zach, appreciate you. Thank you. I'm seeing the messages come through. All right, now I don't know. Let's check. I don't know if that's because I put it inside of the hoodie rather than outside of the hoodie, or if that's just because of our connection in today's session. So let me move this real quick. Thank you guys. Okay, Zach just gave me a quick message saying your microphone is a bit muffled compared to usual and the video is lagging. All right, so this might be our connection. The new studio, the internet is not the same as the previous connection. So it might be our connection. All right, let me know if there's a, oh, that's not good. All right, but thank you for letting us know, Zach. We appreciate that. And guys, let me know if the audio is clearer now, okay? Let me know if the audio is clearer now. And I've been told there's a slight echo as well. Okay, we're gonna work on this stuff. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. This is what we're here for. We're here to work it out without a doubt. All right, let's jump in. So the question is it possible? Hopefully the echo might be reduced now. The question is it possible to go from a situation in your life where you may be like a caterpillar right now? Your finances may be caterpillarish, okay? Your finances may be like a caterpillar, okay? All right, I love that. I love that. Okay. Thank you ever so much. Thank you so much, Zach. All right, we're going to get on it. We're going to get on it. So is it possible? Here's a question. Is it possible to go from one place like a caterpillar in your finances, in your relationships, in your health, in your wealth, to another place and become like a butterfly? Is it possible, right? The 100% answer to that is 100% guaranteed. So because of that, what we're going to do is we're going to show you exactly how it's done. Because the same steps a caterpillar goes through are the exact same sequential steps that you will need to go through. So let's show you how to do this. First step a caterpillar must do, but equally must you and I do, is you have to form a shell. A caterpillar forms a shell. We call it a cocoon, right? You might call it a cocoon scientifically, but what the caterpillar does in order to improve its life, to go from being a caterpillar to being a butterfly, is the first thing it does is it forms a shell. Now, some of you guys might not be readers of the Bible. I'm a big proponent of reading the Bible. Why? Because all the secrets, all the keys that people share in all of these places out there actually came from a book right there. Okay, for those of you who can't see it. All right, I stay strapped. Okay, now what does it say in the Bible? Because this is an interesting question. What it says in the Bible in Matthew chapter 6, when Jesus is teaching his disciples how to pray, he says, when you pray, listen to these words. He says, when you pray, go into your closet and shut the door. You see, the problem for most people is most people read the Bible and take the spiritual information, but don't also take the practical application. Someone write in the chat the word apply. You see, this is why your finances say access denied, because you don't take practical steps and say steps applied. Oh, can I be this real today? If I can be this real, someone just write in the chat, be real. You see, if you hear about information and you theorize about information, but you don't ever internalize information for it to become transformation through means of the process of application, that information will just purely, ultimately be information. And if it's only ever information, guess what's going to happen? It's not going to create transformation. I want to share something with you guys. A caterpillar only becomes a butterfly because of the process of transformation. I'm going to say it again in case you need to pick up your pen. A caterpillar only becomes a butterfly because of the process of transformation. A caterpillar does not become a butterfly because it heard some good information. Some of you are tuned into this live, you're going to hear some transformative information, but unless you apply application right there, unless you apply application, you cannot have the appropriate transformation. Is it okay for me to just be that real today? I know some of you guys might be on the live for the first time with Samuel I Can Win. You might be saying, hold on a minute, this guy came out swinging. It's okay, guys. This is how a live is with me. For those of you who have been in a live with Samuel I Can Win before, you can just let them know in the chat. Let them know in the chat, this is him, 24 hours, 7 days a week. There's no live where he's not like this. Guys, I just want to keep it this real with you. How can you transform from your current norm if you're going to sit down with information? Let me tell you what happens when you take a daily dose of information but don't turn it into transformation. You end up with a process called procrastination. And if you want elevation above procrastination, take the information, apply through application so you can have simple transformation. Is this helping someone today? Oh, I see the chefs all over the screen. Let's go. Let's go deeper. All right. Austin says, yes, sir. Okay, let's go deeper. Now, most people do not understand this process, okay? Now, yes, there's deep scientific implications to this, and I usually teach that when I have more time. I don't have the time, so I'm just going to break it down into the core component parts. Let's go. The first thing a caterpillar does is it forms a shell. Let me tell you something. If your old friends from the ends are still telling you about old trends, that is not going to help you get to some new ends. Samuel, what do you mean? What I mean is that's part of forming a shell. In Matthew chapter 6, when Jesus was teaching his disciples how to pray, he said, when you pray, he said, go into your closet. And let me tell you the key words he said, and shut the door. What are we shutting the door to, Jesus? What are we shutting the door to, Master? We're shutting the door to other voices. We're shutting the door. We're shutting the door to mentalities of victims. We're shutting the door to old virtues. And we are shutting ourselves in with new true values. You see, the reason why Jesus taught them to shut the door, I'll tell you why. I'll make it super simple. If you're a student of the Bible tells us that Jesus rose into a city at one time. And he says of that city that he didn't do many miracles there because the people there didn't believe. Samuel, what are you saying here? What I'm saying to you is the reason Jesus was teaching the disciples to go into the closet and shut the door is so that they did not have to deal with the voices, with the victimhood, with the virtues of disbelief. If you want to produce a result in your life that has not been in your life before, every single person who has been in your life prior to that result are not going to expect that result to show up. Why? Because they're too used to everything they've seen in your life before. So how do you create new results in an old life? That's a question you should be asking. How do I create new results in my old life? Because it's my life. If I've been living for 30 years, right? I need new results that haven't been here for the last 30 years. If I've been living for 50 years, I need new results that haven't been there for the last 50 years. If I'm saying now's the time, I'm going to become financially free. Yeah, I've been dabbling. I've been doing this online stuff. I've been doing some property stuff. Yeah, I'm an influencer. Yeah, I'm an investor. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah, I'm an educator. If you have been making some money, but you're saying to yourself, you know what, today's the day. Like Jesus said, today's the day of salvation. From this day forth, I'm changing my life. If you've made that declaration internally, let me tell you something. That means you want new results in an old life. And Jesus said something very powerful. He said, you can't put new wine in old wineskins. So what does that mean? That means you can't put new results in an old life. You have to have a new life, become new, so you can start having some new results. Samuel, how do I become new? Well, I'm so glad you asked. The first step is you form a shell. You form a shell. You form a shell. You place yourself in an environment where you cannot be so easily accessed by your previous self, by your previous voices, by your previous influences, by the previous voices that would corrupt you, by the previous victimhood that would erupt you, that would help you say to yourself, oh, it's because of the government. Oh, it's because of the school I went to. Oh, it's because of my parents. Oh, it's because no one left me an inheritance. You give up the victimhood. Let's go deeper. After you form a shell, what's the next thing you do? This is what the caterpillar does, right? The caterpillar literally does this. And you and I have to do this too. I've done this multiple times in my life. This is why I can teach this. I wouldn't be able to teach this if I wasn't able to financially reach this. I wouldn't be able to teach this if I wasn't able to see how to literally transform my life through this. These are the 3 stages of transformation. Oh, if someone's getting value, throw in the chat the word value. Let's go. So the first thing a caterpillar must do is form a shell. First thing I must do is form a shell. After I form a shell, the next thing I do is and the caterpillar literally does this. It's scientifically proven. And if we had the time, I'd go into the science and then you'd really be like, psh. But the second thing that the caterpillar actually does is it fragments itself. It fragments itself. Now, you might be asking yourself, Samuel, why is this so interesting? I'm going to tell you why this is so interesting. The caterpillar literally fragments itself. Okay? Kalo Bissau, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Thank you for following the host. Let's go deeper. The caterpillar literally fragments itself. It doesn't just form a shell, but it fragments itself. Okay? Now, excuse me, guys. I don't know what's happening here. Let's go. Now, what do you mean by it fragments itself, Samuel? I'm going to explain. When a caterpillar goes into the cocoon, it forms a shell. It does something absolutely magnificent, something that you and I have to do. This is the reason why whenever you see me in my studio, you will see books. You will see a whole bunch of books. Now, we haven't even organized the books in the studio since we've moved, right? So the books are in a whole bunch of different directions right now, right? Usually, they're neater than this. Go watch one of my old lives, okay? On the red platform or the blue platform, where they keep up the lives, right? The replays. But I want you to understand something. And Samuel, why were you talking about books just now? Why were you talking about books? I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about books. The caterpillar forms a shell. And then what it does scientifically is it fragments itself. What's the fragmentation process? The fragmentation process of a caterpillar inside of its cocoon when it's formed a shell is taking off of itself. It breaks off of itself the parts of itself which are not productive participants for what it's going to be performing. Now, what is a caterpillar going to be performing? Well, I can tell you what a caterpillar is going to be performing. When it becomes a butterfly, it's going to be performing flight. It's going to be taking flight, right? So here's a question. Is anything not useful for flight useful if we're going to be flying? The answer is, of course not. Of course not. If I'm going to be flying, then everything and anything that has nothing to do with helping me fly is actually more of a distraction than a valued part of action. And you might literally be sitting here right now thinking to yourself, Samuel, that is crazy. Are you literally describing my life? Yes, because I'm describing mine too. These are the things I had to go through. This is the reason I'm able to share them with you. A caterpillar literally shows us the exact framework in which is necessary to transform your finances from caterpillar-style finances to butterfly-style finances. I want you to understand how this works. This is happening in every single one of our lives every single day. We get to make a decision. We get to make a choice. Are we going to be the caterpillar financially or the butterfly financially? Are we going to be the caterpillar in our relationships or the butterfly in our relationships? Are we going to be the caterpillar in our health or the butterfly in our health? I see those likes blowing up. Let's go. And guys, for those of you on a black platform, you can give gifts, badges, and all of that stuff as well. If this stuff is that good, let's go. Guys, I want you to understand how this works. We live in a world where people see butterflies and say, oh, that's beautiful. But they don't realize the butterfly is teaching you the lesson that God wants you to take in order for your finances to stop being fake. In order for your finances to no longer have to break. In order for your finances to find the formula in order for them to finally be able to make. It's that simple. The first thing, thank you for sharing the live, Austin. The first thing that the butterfly does is form a shell. The second thing that the butterfly does is fragment itself. Samuel, talk to me about this fragmenting thing. I will. Let's go. How does a butterfly fragment itself? Let's break this down really quickly. The butterfly takes off of itself. It literally eradicates itself, erodes itself of everything on the butterfly that is of no value to the butterfly. Thank you for the gift, Komutima. Let's go. All right. And for those of you who are making donations on any platform, we appreciate you. Let's keep going. I want you guys to understand this. The butterfly fragments itself. It tears off of itself everything that's not valuable for its next endeavor. Let me ask you a question. What would happen? I want you to think about this question. Even if you can't answer this question in the chat, if you ain't bold enough to do that, that's okay. But at least, even if you can't answer this question in the chat, ask yourself the question, please. What would happen if you decided to no longer focus on the distractions in your life that are not valuable, that are not of virtue, and that are not valid for where you desire to go in your life? What would happen? Someone let me know in the chat. And for most of you guys who aren't bold enough to let me know in the chat, that's okay. I want you to at least ask yourself the question. What would happen if I no longer focused on the distractions that are no longer valuable for me, that are no longer valid for me, that are no longer viable for who I desire to be? What would happen? I'd love to know. Let's go. Austin said, I'll succeed. Austin said, you'll succeed. You see, this is why the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. Oh, this is so good. The reason the caterpillar becomes a butterfly is because the caterpillar is following a formula that is age-old, tried and tested. And what most of us are trying to do is we're trying to follow no formula and think we're gonna get the tried and tested results. No, let me tell you what happens when you follow no formula. You get tried and you get tested. Most people are going through trials and tests and saying, how comes they haven't become the best? I'm going to tell you why you haven't become the best. I'm going to tell you why your life doesn't feel blessed if you are going through a trial and test. It's because you are not using a formula which has been trialed and tested already. So what would happen if you actually just started using a formula that had already been trialed and tested? Oh, I see those likes blowing up. What would happen if you actually started using a formula that had already been tried and tested? Guess what? You wouldn't be tried and tested because the formula had already been trialed and tested. Oh, someone's catching this. This is why some caterpillars don't ask for a refund and say, hey, Mr. Scientist, hey, Mr. God, hey, Mr. Human Being, I want a refund because you told me I can transform into a butterfly, but it's not working. I want a refund. Let me tell you why a caterpillar, none of the caterpillars in the world ever ask for a refund. The reason you will never hear a caterpillar ask for a refund is because they are using a tried and tested formula. That tried and tested formula is so simple once you have someone who can teach you what that formula is. And let me share with you what that formula is. Let me get to the third part of the formula, just so you guys can see the framework. Like I said, I don't have the time to go into the intricacies today. For those of you who've been following me for a while, you've probably heard me break this down. If you haven't heard me break this down, you know what to do. Hit the follow, hit subscribe, become a part of this tribe. Hit the share, show you care. Share this stuff with someone out there so they can get what you're getting in here. The caterpillar, first and foremost, forms a shell. The caterpillar then decides to fragment itself. It tears off of itself every single thing that's not profitable, that's not beneficial for it, in order to become what it's going to become, in order for it to go where it desires to go. The caterpillar does that. The caterpillar makes that decision. Let me tell you something that most people will never tell you. The caterpillar doesn't wait for the government to form a shell. The caterpillar doesn't wait for the government to fragment itself. The caterpillar fragments itself. Because the caterpillar understands something that's said in the book of Proverbs in the Bible. It says, wisdom is to benefit the benefactor. What does that mean? That means if I'm the person who uses wisdom, I get the benefits of the wisdom. A caterpillar understands that principle. So the caterpillar understands, hold on a minute, if I form a shell, I don't have to hear the voices. I don't have to hear the victimhood. I don't have to hear the virtues of people that aren't going to become the butterfly I'm going to become. The caterpillar understands, if I start fragmenting myself, if I start pulling off of me the things that aren't supposed to be, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be better off for it afterwards. The caterpillar recognizes that I benefit when I do the work. So guess what the caterpillar does? It gets to work. Oh, someone's excited right now. The caterpillar realizes if I do the work, I get the benefit of the work. So guess what the caterpillar does? The caterpillar gets to work. Is there anyone in the house who's ready to get to work? If you are, just write in the chat, I am. There's anyone in the chat at 2 a.m. out here in the UK or wherever you're joining us from. If you're in the US of A, if you're in Australasia or in Asia, or if you're in Mother Africa, is there anyone in the chat who's ready to get to work? If that's you, just write in the chat, I am. I'm ready to get to work. Samuel, I've heard what you've said today and I believe it. I receive it. I recognize that what you're saying is the truth. I recognize that for my finances to go from caterpillarhood to butterflyville, I'm going to have to do the work. And I understand what doing the work is going to entail. Even on a very basic level, from the very simplistic fashion that you have broken it down, Samuel, I know I'm going to have to form a shell. From the very basic level, from the very even simplistic fashion that you've broken it down, Samuel, I know I'm going to have to start to fragment myself. I don't know about you guys. I'm just here asking. Because I want to know if there's any serious, not just curious people in the house today. Let's go deeper. The first thing a caterpillar does is it forms a shell. The second thing a caterpillar does is it fragments itself, but then it gets deeper. After it forms a shell and fragments itself, the caterpillar then goes and does something which is super, in my opinion, catastrophic. And it takes catastrophic action to get cataclysmic results. I'm going to say that again in case you need to pick up your pen. It takes catastrophic action. What's catastrophic action, Samuel? I'm going to tell you. Catastrophic action is any action beyond the kind of action you've taken before. What does that mean? That means sometimes that just means buying a book. Why? Because for the last 6 years, you ain't bought no book. Sometimes it just means taking a look. Taking a look at what, Samuel? Taking a look at the book that you just bought. Why? Because you ain't taken a look at no book for the last 6 years. Cataclysmic action sometimes means investing in yourself. Why? Because you ain't invested in yourself for the last 6 years. You spent the last 6 years looking at the old you, saying the old you is going to dictate who's going to be the future you, instead of you saying, hold on a minute, my future should have a stronger pull on me than the push my past is giving me. Oh, I'm going to say that again in case you need to pick up your pen. Your future should have a stronger pull on you than the past push that's coming through. If this is of value to someone write in the chat the word value. I literally feel like someone's life's being changed as they're listening to this. Let's go deeper. So the caterpillar has to form a shell. After the caterpillar forms a shell, the caterpillar then fragments itself. And then after it fragments itself is the only time, after it fragments itself, is the only time, I'm going to say it one more time in case you did not hear me last time, after it fragments itself, it's the only time that the caterpillar becomes qualified to become its future self. The caterpillar is unqualified when it forms a shell to become its future self. You see, some of us have formed a shell and then we complain as well. We're complaining because we can't see why we're not gaining when we've formed a shell. Well, I'm here to tell you something. You don't qualify to become your future self until you've formed a shell and also fragmented yourself. Now, you might be thinking, Samuel, this is crazy. This is crazy. I feel like you've literally just given me the cheat code to why things haven't been working in my life. Well, I'm so glad that you got the cheat code right now. And here's the thing. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You see, I jumped on this live thinking I was going to teach you all of the things that your teachers taught you, and that are keeping you poor. We've got to one. We haven't even got to the second one. We got into one. And I feel like the time is done. So let me show you how we can help you right now, right? Let me show you what you can do about this to move further faster in your future right now, okay? Because I want you to move further faster in your future. I want your rest of your days to be the best of your days. I want your future to be brighter than your past. I read a verse in the Bible, it changed my life. It said, weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. That means the future should be brighter than the past. The pull from your future should be stronger on you than the push of your past. I shared with you a moment ago, I'm going to share it again. The caterpillar can only produce caterpillar results until the caterpillar qualifies to become something else. What does it need to become? It needs to become its future self. You can't stay as you are and think you are going to go real far. You can't stay where you are and think you're going to travel far. Think about what I just said. If you stay where you are, where are you? Where you are. So many of us think we're going to stay where we are, but we're going to end up somewhere really far. I'm here to tell you something. In order to go somewhere really far, you have to first leave where you are. So the caterpillar does this by forming a shell. The caterpillar then does this by fragmenting itself. And then the caterpillar then does the most cataclysmic thing. It becomes its future self. You do not qualify to become the butterfly unless you deny yourself from being the caterpillar. Jesus said it in a set of ways way better than I could say it. Jesus said, listen, he says, unless a seed falls in the ground. Listen to this key word, because most people think that you need to thrive to thrive. No, 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 no. Jesus said it better than me. Jesus said, unless a seed falls to the ground, and here's what most of those preachers don't preach, and dies. I'm going to say it one more time so you can write it down. He says, unless a seed falls to the ground and dies. Now, I know some of us are too used to, and I'm going to talk about myself, right? Because I don't know if I'm pointing the finger, but I can definitely start pointing the finger. I used to go to churches where the message was so happy clappy, my life couldn't change. I used to go to churches where everything they would talk about would be a surface level value of what the Bible was really talking about. And that's why my life couldn't change. Now, I'm not blaming the churches, I'm blaming myself. Why? Because I kept listening to the surface level and never saying I need to go deeper. I kept listening to the surface level and never saying, listen, I want to be butterfly version. I've seen caterpillar version. Okay, caterpillar, but I want to be butterfly version. I want to upgrade. I want to upgrade. Is there anyone here in the house who wants to upgrade? If you want to upgrade, just write in the chat, me. Is there anyone who wants to upgrade? Is there anyone who's tuning in right now who's saying to me, Samuel, you know what? I know I needed to be on this live today. This is the live for me today. If that's you, just write in the chat, me. I'm looking for the upgraders today. Let's go. Because I'm here to share something with you. We live in a world where people are so casual, but yet they complain. You're casual about being successful, but yet you're going to complain. You're casual about making more wealth, but yet you're going to complain. You're casual about having your spiritual life being invigorating and energizing, but yet you're going to complain. You're casual about your relationships, but yet you're going to complain. You're casual about your marriage, but yet you're going to complain. You're casual about parenting, but yet you're going to complain. As I often say, I'll say it again, just in case you need to pick up your pen. If you live life casually, you are destined to become a casualty. I say it all the time to my students. I say it all the time to my clients. I say it all the time to my friends, because I don't want to pretend. If you live life casually, you will become a casualty. If you are saying to yourself today, you know what, Samuel, I want to take a step. I want to move further, faster in my future. I'm fed up of being fed up. And I now am ready to be read up. I now am ready to be trained up. I now am ready to move further, faster in my future so I can leave something for my children and my children's children, like the Bible literally says I should do. If that's you, I'm going to invite you to come and join me. Come and join me where? Come and join me on my upcoming 5-day cash flow creation week. This is a training that we're going to be giving you guys to help you move further, faster in your future. Right? I just put the QR code on the screen. Now, for those of you who are going to say to me, Samuel, you know what? I'm in. I'm going to stop you right now and tell you there's a financial investment. Because people need free pool opportunities. But pre-pool people need pre-pool opportunities. So if you're someone who's looking for a premium opportunity to move further, faster in your future, I want you to literally scan the QR code, take a screenshot of this screen, and move further, faster with me and my team. We're going to show you over the cash flow creation week on day one in our first training session, literally 60 to 90 minutes long. It'll be 90 minutes long with a prize draw. We're going to do a prize draw at the start to give away some prizes. But we are literally going to show you each and every day we're going to give away a prize, and the prize each and every day is worth over £100 every single day. I want you guys to understand something, right? I don't want you to come and join for the prize. I don't want you to come and join for the prize. I want you to come and join because you're serious and not just curious. I want you to come and join because you're saying to yourself, Samuel, you know what? I recognize that if it's going to be, it's going to have to be up to me. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the champions. Not the casual, the serious. Not the curious, the serious. The people that are ready to go. If that's you, I've literally just thrown the link in the chat. I want you to take advantage of that and come and join me on my upcoming 5-day cash flow creation week.